All right. Welcome. My name is Fatoumata Jaite, and I am the programming coordinator for the Hela Career Center. And I'm also a student, an SID student, first year, and looking forward to having a great time at Hela. But I wanted to take a moment to welcome you both, Pallavi and Christian. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation and for coming back to Hela to serve with us. We're looking forward to having a great session, and I am going to be facilitating the session. And I will just coordinate by calling on you if there's a specific question for you in the chat, or if I have one myself. Otherwise, we will just follow the flow of the agenda, where you talk about your academic and professional background. And then we will also talk about any current jobs that you've been engaged in and what some of your responsibilities are. We would also like to talk a little bit about your job acquisition, your job search journey. A lot of students are very interested in that. And even if they're not in the session, they will come to me and be like, Fatu. So did they talk about that? So that is also very important to us, especially as international students in the US. And we would also like to know a little bit about your time at Hela. Maybe share some fun memories with us, some challenges with us. And I want to also say that right now, we are not doing things as usual. Hela is going through a lot, and we know that students also are facing some challenges as well as faculty, but we needed to continue with our career planning and our career events, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure the best of Hela is represented, the alumni are featured, the students are supported, and that we at the career office are doing what we can to create that connection. No matter what happens, careers are always going to be important in our lives. And that is what the Career Center is doing, basically. And then hopefully we can have about 30 to 20 minutes to just do specific questions, question and answer, straight up question and answer sessions. And I have about 7 from other people who I've talked to that are already here that I'm going to ask as well. And yeah, we're hoping to have a great session. So welcome everyone. I know you both are going to do a great job describing yourselves and introducing yourselves. So I'm just going to turn the floor to you. We will start with you, Pallavi, and then we will come to you, Christian. If you can just introduce yourself and just tell us what you want us to know right now.
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently the program director of a federal grant funded by USAID that looks into conducting academically rigorous research into global development challenges across the world. So it's a $70 million grant, and it's a program that sits in Purdue University because Purdue is the lead. But it's a consortium of Indiana University, Makerere University, Notre Dame, and Catholic Relief Services. So these institutions have come together to conduct work on this grant. And we currently, I manage the program, so I have 47 to 49 projects in 21 countries where we are conducting rigorous research into anything between, conflict prevention to child trafficking to education, psychosocial support, and range of topics. You could actually, if you want to learn more about the project, you can go to our project program's website. It's laserpulse.org, and there's a lot of research work that you can flip through there. Mm-hmm. Before this, I was at Heller, but I actually did a 1-year accelerated MA because I already had a master's. So this was really a place for me to put some academic context behind the work that I had been doing previously before coming to Heller. Before coming to Heller, I have actually jumped career a lot. So I was trained as a programmer and software engineer. So I worked as a computer science engineer for about 6 years. And then I did my management from London School of Economics. And I went as a management consultant with PwC in London. And then I jumped again and I became a social entrepreneur. I went back to India, started a company, worked on it for 4 years. And that's when I came to Heller to write about the work that I had done and sort of the data that I had collected to publish this concept of cross-sector partnership stuff. I had a great time at Hiller, and I'm very happy to be here. And Fatoumata and the team, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pallavi. We are honored to have you here and such a diverse background. I'm sure there is a lot to learn. I'm going to invite Christian in as well. We would love to hear from you.
First of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to connect with Hella again. I was there last year, and it's always a pleasure to share experience. In terms of background, I'm currently serving Action Against Hunger, a nonprofit focusing on food security. It's based in New York.
Mm.
In the last 4 years, I've been serving them as field finance official. In a few words, I'm reviewing the accountancy procedures, and also making sure that the field, meaning missions in many based in Africa, are well funded and also on track with regards to the development objectives. I started my career as a financial analyst 10 years ago with PricewaterhouseCoopers, a financial firm. And later on, I decided to study international development at Yale School. I found the program attractive, and I would say that I'm really happy about my experience at Yale School because in terms of knowledge, in terms of connection and experience, I was able to capitalize and secure a couple of positions in international relations and also in the field of research. I guess I will have the opportunity to expand later on. But basically, I serve international organizations, including the African Union Development Bank, the African Union Commission, and some human rights-based organizations, including Transparency International, as a consultant. More recently, I contributed to the evaluation of USAID, trying to optimize the efficiency in terms of development programs. That's all I can say for now. And based on the questions, I'll be happy to give some tips. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it looks like there is a lot to draw from here. I'm hearing finance, I'm hearing social enterprise, I'm hearing research in a lot of fields. So I think I want to bring you both a little bit back to when you were at Heller, especially as international students. If you can talk a little bit about your challenges, especially where job search and acquisition is concerned, and talk to us a little bit about that. What were some of the challenges? What were some of your coping mechanisms? Oh, just ways of making sure you stand out, that you are not just in jobs that don't serve you well, but are also maybe aligned with your passions. I don't know. But if you can talk a little bit about that journey, yeah. We can go with any of you.
Okay, I will start then. So I originally come from Côte d'Ivoire, a country located in West Africa. You might have noticed from my accent that I have a French accent. So it's always a challenge coming from a different background and trying to adapt to different country. I remember the first time I traveled to the US, it was during winter, so it was a little bit of a challenge. But I was able, thanks to the advice of my advisor, Jasmine Waddell, and also I had a couple of mentors who were really helpful. I also had the opportunity to make some research before starting with school at Yale. connecting with previous graduates. So I had some insights about how to perform well at school, but also how to take the most from the program. And I was able to capitalize my terms higher, but also attend career events in DC. Another challenge, um, in addition to the weather, I would say, in terms of career search, coming from a developing country, the culture is different in terms of job search. I had to understand how the system works here. For instance, in Cote d'Ivoire, when you apply to a position, you have to know someone. But here, there are a lot of processes, and regardless of how you get a position, there are some procedures to follow in terms of interview, in terms of procedures. So this was quite of a challenge. For instance, after graduation, uh, through the career service, I was able to secure an internship at the United Nations Democracy Fund. And I remember that when I was leaving my financial position in Cote d'Ivoire, my mom told me, are you sure you really want to go to LA school? You're going to leave PricewaterhouseCoopers, a big four company, and go somewhere that you don't know. And I told her, I saw that from this program, some students were able to work at the UN. So because of that and because of reputation of the school, and with God's help, I will be able to make it. So after graduation, she reminded me, this is what you told me. So where are you now? So when I was able to capitalize and get this opportunity, she was happy. Later on, I got a fellowship in Addis Ababa, working as a UZ fellow at the United Nations Commission for Africa. But I was a bit stuck in my head. I just wanted to work for the UN. So I closed my eyes on many other opportunities to realize later on that it's not necessarily where you are, but it's more about the impact you're making. And you need a plan, you need people, and also as advice, for example, having people review your resume, prepare with other people. I'll talk more about how to apply to a job later on. I will let Pallavi take on from now.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. At first hand, I'll say this couple of thoughts that you mentioned were similar in my experience. I also left PwC, a well-paying job, to go and start my own NGO back in India, like going from assured good income to doing like fundraising and maybe an assured income. So that was, I totally get your point. It was a big decision for me as well. But before I jump into the challenges, which rest assured are quite a few, I would want to recall some of the good experiences I've had at Hella, which has served me well and is serving me well. One of the biggest thing that I found in Heller was a group of like-minded people, compassionate and empathetic people. The kind of discussions we have had has just changed my mind drastically. It has allowed me to grow as a person. And I'd say this, like just the sheer number of nationalities and culture represented in the class basically forced us all to work across the aisle with people we have never worked with before or spoken to before. That has given me kind of knowledge about myself, that I didn't have before. It has allowed me to be flexible with my opinions and thought processes, and has allowed me to learn how easy it can be to change my mind based on differing opinions and data and information. So that has served me really well, especially now that I work with teams across 21 countries. I cannot be the person who I was before I joined Hello. So this is really helpful. Just the amount of the teamwork experience and working with different cultures and stuff. The other thing was just, the friendships I have created in Heller. I was there for a very short time. Mine was an accelerated course. So I was trying to do 2 years in 1 year. So I didn't have a whole lot of time, but I made a couple of friends in 2018, and we are still in touch. Just last week, one of my friends came down from Worcester to stay with me over the weekend because I said, "Hey, I need a break." So she's like, "Yeah, I'll come down." So those kind of friendships are important for healthy sort of emotional and mental state. So those were the good side. And I'm not even going into the kind of debates and discussions that the faculty at Heller encouraged. Joan Dassin, Dr. Hassan, these were the people I would just walk into their rooms and like, I got a bone to pick with you. And here's what I think. And here's what you said. So here's the discussion. And I've spent hours talking to them. And I'm very thankful to their mentorship. In terms of the challenges in job acquisition specifically, one of the biggest challenges I faced was, as I was saying earlier, I have jumped in career quite a bit. So I was an engineer, then I became management consultant, then I went into social entrepreneurship space as development practitioner. So I never really had in-depth experience in any specific sector. So when you look at the job market in international and global development space, there are more jobs that are asking for expertise than who are asking for generalists. And I was a generalist. So that was my first challenge. Like there were fewer jobs in the generalist management area than there were in specific in-depth expertise. The second thing was, and this is similar to the sentiment that Christian was also mentioning, when after a lot of effort, I got two jobs. I got two, I succeeded in getting two jobs at the time. And I had to make a decision on which one to take. One was in Boston itself, and it was paying me well. The other one was in Indiana at Purdue University, where I am today. The job at Purdue was not paying me that well compared to the one that it was paying me in Boston, but it was exactly what I wanted to do in future. So I took that gamble. I came here, I started doing that job. And because it is what I wanted to do, I was very good at it. It showed my passion and the work requirement, they matched, and it showed. And I have taken on from there. I was an assistant director of a program. I went into being the program director. Then I was pulled into a much larger federal grant that I'm working on today as a program director. And it's an executive level position. So it was a big jump within 3 years. And all this happened in 3 years, right? So I would say to students that, you will come at a point where you'll have to make a decision. So think about prioritizing what you're good at, what you're passionate about, because that will actually help you go the extra mile, and it'll show and it'll result in successes later. Again, building on the point that Christian also mentioned, on the personal level, I do think there were challenges that I faced because of how I look and how I speak. And I think that is something that is sad, but it is a reality in the market. So the only way to tackle it, in my opinion, is to apply to as many jobs as you can. More attempts, more probability of winning something. The systems point that Christian, you brought up is a very big one. I didn't suffer from it personally because I had a green card. I'm married to an American, so I didn't have to face the visa issues and sponsorship issues. But a lot of my friends, and my classmates, I knew they had to tackle a lot in that space. So I don't know if the career services has any kind of support structure to provide to the students or helpful guidance that would definitely serve them well. I think I can answer more questions, but I'll stop here.
Yeah. No, I think so far you guys have touched on like 5 important points that personally for me, and I'm sure the students that are here can connect to. And I like that it is not just also about the challenges, but it's talking about the knowledge, the skills, and even the character, how your time at Heller can also build your character, and especially in the areas that you are in. And I think, it also matters that we are always not looking at the money, but also looking at where our hearts are. And this is easier said than done. But we can hear from you, Pallavi, as well, how because it's your hard work, it's your passion, it's allowed you to grow into the job, right? And
Yeah.
Christian,
Fatima, I'll correct just one little point there. Money matters.
yeah,
Money
it does,
definitely matters, because we all go into the world driven by our passion. But then when we are faced with the reality of paying rent and bills, it's not going to serve.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say, I guess, was if you have a choice between the two, go for something where, your passion is taken, is applicable, because that is a path that will lead to higher success. So it's like consider it as an investment of a year or two into something bigger. I can tell you right now, if I had taken the Boston job, I would not be in the kind of the level and position where I'm at today at Purdue.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Definitely. No,
Just
it's
wanted to-
fine. I'm trying to emphasize
Yeah.
the same point.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we have about 2 other points to talk about before we go into the question and answer session, and the students that are in the audience as well. Feel free to send me your charts, or just simply raise your hand or jump in when it's appropriate. But yeah, so our next point of discussion is for you to perhaps talk about how maybe what are some highlights of your career journey. We will go after Hella now, right? After you've left Hella, what are some highlights? What are some projects that you think is important for the students to hear about? And it could be your day-to-day activities even, but maybe talk about it in terms of how it's relevant for the students to know based on the courses that they're taking, based on the skills that they're learning right now. Recently, I've had a lot of people say, go into classes where you will learn skills, for example. And for me right now, so the SID program that I'm doing, it's an internship. I'm choosing the internship option. And a lot of times when I apply, I'm also like, will they change their minds once they see me? Like, I'm a Black African girl, that is behind my mind too. So I'm trying so hard to like go into classes that will provide me the skills, and because that's what people are saying. But based on, the projects you guys have done and the experiences you've had, what would you say about that? Yeah, I can go with you, Christian.
Okay, yeah, Christian.
That's fine. Go ahead if you're friend.
Sure. I would say that back home back then I was very interested in international affairs, and at Taylor I made sure to take any course related to international affairs. I took human rights based approaches, framework of development, democracy and development, and because I know what I wanted to do, I just didn't know how it would happen. So I wanted to make sure when the time comes, I will have the opportunity. I also took international law, and it happens that some of the professors back then used to work for the United Nations, so they had a bigger perspective about world stage. And one of the highlights of my career was my research fellowship at the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. I remember that the condition was to have a doctorate to be selected. I didn't have it, but they give me the opportunity. And without the program at Taylor, without studying development, without this exposure I had from early school, every securing my internship, my practicum at the United Nations, I won't be sure I will have had this opportunity. I remember I had one discussion with my supervisor during my practicum, and I was telling her, "Oh, work so badly. I want to work so badly here at the UN." And she was telling me, "You might not find the opportunity here at the moment, but be open and look somewhere else. Look, another continent. You can go and maybe you can come back." At first, I was reluctant doing so, but I guess I did well listening to that and got an opportunity in Ethiopia, and later on, this opened other opportunities here in the US. So I guess we'll have to continue to talk later about that, but I just want to say that opening your mind might open other doors for you as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Yes, Pallavi.
Yeah, so my experience was a bit different. You know, as we are talking about, I think, Christian, what you were saying, you had an idea of what you wanted to do when you came to Hiller. I had no idea what I wanted to do next. I had tried 3 different fields, and I was open for, you know, wherever it takes me. But my challenge was a little different. My challenge was that I had no expertise, in-depth expertise in a particular sector. So I couldn't call myself human rights experts or, you know, education, that I have education expertise, climate change. I had no in-depth expertise in any particular sector. But what I did have, or what my consulting experience and my social enterprise experience was basically was that running projects across different sectors. So I had enough understanding and knowledge across different sectors in order to manage teams. So my experience was more on the side of management and administration rather than in-depth implementation work or research work. So that is why I was saying that my job applications were a little different. I was applying for management roles. I was applying for, you know, administrative positions and stuff like that. So I'd just say that, you know, to borrow Christian's point, in terms of, so currently the role that I'm playing is of the program director, as I was saying. It's a $70 million program, and we do research in every USAID development sector with all USAID partner countries. So we are talking about 49 projects in 21 countries, working with 26 USAID missions and bureaus, right? So in 21 countries, we're working with the missions, and we are working with bureaus like, you know, Humanitarian Assistance Bureau or Office of Chief Economist at the USAID and stuff like that. So it requires me to kind of have a very high level idea, enough to understand and grasp the program project design part of it, not necessarily implementation. So when I was at Heller, I mostly focused on taking classes that were gonna enable me to be a better project and program manager rather than an expert in different sector. So what that looked like was I was on, you know, I'm forgetting the name of the faculty. I don't think she's there anymore, but she used to teach project management, module 1 and module 2. I took those. And then I selected some of the areas where I had worked before, and I went and sat in all those classes just to get more understanding, high level of each region in each sector. And then I took ethics of development, which was fantastic because I'd never really studied the ethics of development. I had done the work, but I'd never studied about it. So I was mostly at a high level, picking classes just to know more about sectors that I did not know, but focusing on the management part of it.
Yeah, totally agreed. And that makes sense. And I'm hoping that the students that are in the audience as well, it's resonated with them. If you have questions, I have one already, but if you have more, I want to encourage you and invite you to just send me, and I can also ask on your behalf, or you can just raise your hand and ask the question. And the question I have right now is, what tools and resources do you know about? It could be once that you access that Heller, or it could be after Heller, that you think will be useful for the students as they go on their job search. It could be in the US, but just generally, are there tools and resources that you know about that you might be able to share with the students as they embark on their job finding?
Before I answer this question, I just want to mention that you know, mastering project management is very important because it can secure you any jobs in any fields, whether it's energy, whether it's agriculture, regardless of your interest. If you have good program management skills or monitoring evaluation skills, you'll be able to get a position that with your interest, but also you will have more opportunity, whether it's in Africa and the US, especially as a development practitioner. In terms of research research tools, there is as a alumni, you will have opportunity to see posts from a career service. There also something I really recommend is it's called the International Career SID. It's called SID. So on a frequently basis, like every 3 months, they have a job fair, online job fairs, where you have most of the development agencies seeking candidates posting jobs. And during this time, you have hundreds of positions posted. So it's a good opportunity for you, even though you might not be interested at the moment, to just connect and have a close contact with someone working in HR for all these major organizations. Most of them are based in DC, but you will find that some of them are also in New York. The second thing I would say is to attend networking events, especially career fairs. It can be city career fairs. There, for instance, last week I attended one that were represented from WHO, they represented from banks. So this is another opportunity. The last tool I recommend is do your own research, looking at where you want to be later on, seeing where people are, and the background, see what type of organizations they with, see what type of programs. It's also important to have a certificate in program management. Most of the positions require it or make you more competitive. That's what I would say for now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Emmanuel. Can I call on Emmanuel?
Yeah, of course. Yes, please. I think
you're on mute. Happens all the time.
So sorry, it happens every time. So yes, my name is Emmanuel. I just had a question. Is it for Christian? How are you talking about your work in Ethiopia? I just wanted to know if you can just share maybe few experiences about culture or work environment about East Africa, besides the Ethiopia, where you work.
Are you asking where I work in Africa, or how was my experience in Ethiopia?
Yeah, experience in Ethiopia.
Okay, sure. So in terms of opportunity working for the head of the the United Nations in Africa was cool, I would say. More importantly, the project I was working on, which was evaluating democracy in Africa, looking at trends in terms of electoral violence, was, I would say, the highlight of my career. And also the type of environment where you can challenge the democracy theory, and also give your insights for publication for larger diffusion, was very rewarding experience. In terms of environment, I would say it wasn't always easy, because for some reason Ethiopia is considered as a less developing country, and at times you will not have electricity, or you not have water at a certain time of the day, or the internet connection won't be available. So this is a type of challenges I had to navigate. But overall, I would say the experience was worth it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Pallavi, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, just quickly, the parts that Christian mentioned were really good. I will only add on one resource that was very helpful for me, which was LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, and I'm not quite sure if it's available to anybody or if only to Prime members, but LinkedIn has a lot of courses and simulations of interviews and stuff, which are really helpful. I still use it. One thing I have learned, and this is my experience of going through job search, but then also I am now in charge of hiring onto my program and stuff. One thing I've learned personally when I'm doing the hiring is it's not so much of the experience and knowledge that you bring in terms of direct work, which of course is important because that's the first. So when we look through a different resume for a position in our program, of course the first thing is we would look if you have had any relevant experience and if you've worked in the sector, if you bring some knowledge about the sector and region. But the second thing which comes across, which we are always looking for during interviews, is the attitude of the person, right? Are you open to thoughts, pushbacks? We would intentionally like push back on some of the ideas to see how the individual reacts to it. Are they open to new ideas? Are they open to discussion? Um, you know, so make sure that when you're looking at, preparing for interview, it's not only about the content and sector, it's about how are you in group discussions? It's about how are you answering? Are you giving examples? Are you going deeper into the perspective, different perspective? Are you talking about different stakeholders? So think about all those non-sector specific knowledge, soft skills, which are very important. And that is why I was mentioning that the soft skills that I developed, honed, and practiced while working with people from different cultures, regions, helped me do that during the interview process. So all the interviews that we are doing, we have like 5 to 6 rounds, and half of those rounds are basically on assessing the attitude of the individual and how they collaborate with other people, which is very important.
Yeah.
So look through LinkedIn. I'd say they have a lot of courses and simulations that you can learn from.
Yeah. Very useful what you both have shared. And I'm going to start with you, Pallavi. I think sharing from the side of employment and talking about, the focus, at least for your field, what do you guys look for? I think gives us some perspective, because sometimes when we do our resumes, it's hard to put yourself in that position when you've never been there. So I think that's useful for everyone to hear. And thank you, Christian, for sharing your experience in Ethiopia as well. And I was going to ask a little bit about AI. Maybe we can have a quick discussion about that, and if that has had any space in your work, and what that is like for you right now.
I would say that AI is the future, but the future is starting now, So it's good to have knowledge, general knowledge. I would say my think is that maybe even in the next 2 years, people with knowledge and expertise in this area will be more competitive. For now, is the program management skills that is more on the market. I just want to add something really quick regarding the job search. So that was all the things before the interview. When we apply in the US Tech, talking about getting a job in the US, review your resume, make sure there's no grammatical errors. I have 2-3 people reviewing it. And depending on the response you get when you apply for jobs, ask people if they think that you should rearrange your resume, be open to changes, accept criticism, have your cover letter reviewed by a peer. When you apply for a position, give yourself some time, tell yourself, well, this is the type of position I want, this is where I want to be in 5 years, in 10 years from now. If you apply for, let's say, program manager role because of your experience, you're more qualified, but within 6 months, you don't have anything, be open to a more junior role, just to be able to pay your bills, be practical. And also when you have an interview, just be on time, just like the other say, be friendly, develop your soft skills, and that will happen. That's what I wanted to find.
Thank you.
It's interesting you're asking about AI because I also believe I think AI can help each of us do a better job. So like, for example, I actually use AI, especially the ChatGPT part of it, to actually review my project designs. And so I do a rough draft of what I want to like sort of design as a strategy, and then I would ask ChatGPT to give me a typical design strategy. And my agenda there is not to have AI do my job, but it is to actually see if there's a better version or better solution that I am missing in my work. But I can tell you, if I just go to AI to find an answer, it's not necessarily, it will be good for sure. But then you have to understand, when everybody have access to the same thing, then the bar of what's better has gone up, right? So if everybody is asking ChatGPT, give me an answer to this, who's coming to the interview, they will all look similar. How do you then use that and build on it would be the differentiating factor. So I use it to help make my designs better. And yeah, and I would encourage people to do the same. I'd also put emphasis on what Christian was saying. Definitely, like a bad CV filled with grammatical errors doesn't even go through the first round. So definitely use Grammarly, for example, to read through whatever you have written and fix those issues before you can submit it. The inbuilt tool in Docs is not very good. The spelling and grammatical error tool is not very good. If you can use Grammarly, that would be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much. Those are useful to hear. I know personally for me, who is applying every day. But thank you so much to both of you. We have about 10 to 12 minutes to wrap up. So I wanted to invite you to just, based on what we've discussed, maybe just share some last words with the students. And the focus here is on, as an international student, job search, job acquisition, visa sponsorship. What are your experiences with that, if you want to talk about that? And just really, how do you utilize your time here at Hella so that when you leave, the education is not just about the grades, and it's much more than that, and it helps you not just in the United States too, but globally, wherever you want to go, to bring something to the job markets that you're interested in.
Yeah, and I would be happy to yield my time to actually see if there's any one last question or last one or two questions, because I think if people are very quiet, so folks feel free to ask any question. Yes, please, both of us.
Yes, somebody just put something in the chat, and it's from Emmanuel. Okay, can we connect with you on LinkedIn? Is the question.
Yes, there you go. Feel free to. To your question, Fatoumata, I'll just make one quick point, which I hadn't mentioned before, but it is something that's becoming a part of my thinking process now that I'm, much stable in my job and stuff. When we are kind of in a fix and desperate to find a job, we minimize one part, which is, would we be able to do that job well when we get that job? What we are thinking and imagining, our imagination ends at getting the job. What we need to also do for long-term success perspective, also think about, so I got the job. Will I be able to do all of this that is required of me in the job search? Because if we are not considering that, and if we are just applying, and if we do get something we are not a very good fit at, there are two negative aspects of it. One is the opportunity cost. If you take a job that you're not a very good fit at, you are potentially losing out on an opportunity that you are very good at, and that could have led you to a whole different direction in a whole different plane. So that's one miss. Second miss is, when we are not a good fit for a job, and we are not performing very well. I've been there, right? It chips away the confidence that you would have had if you were in a good job that you're excelling at or flourishing at. So you gotta do a cost benefit analysis of, think about after have you had a job, not just applying for the job and getting one. I've been there. It can get a desperate situation, but please try and focus on how will it be for you once you do get that job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
much. Concerning me, I miss my time as a student. So I would say enjoy your time there, enjoy every lecture, but also have time to relax when the activities. Feel free to go outside and enjoy Boston. Based on your interest, when you listen lectures, this can educate you something you really like. Based on the courses you attended so far, you should know or have an indication about what you really like. I would say connect with people doing something that you like, something that you're passionate about. Ask them questions about how they achieve their goals, and ask advice as well. Have faith. There are a lot of jobs on the market. If you go online and look for jobs, you will see that 1,000, 10,000 of jobs, even more. You face rejections, but keep trying. You build your character. Know that when you apply for a job, they use software that look for keywords. So make sure to include the keywords that are in the job. Just description. Don't send a standard resume. At times, you might not go for the next step just because of these barriers. So you want to be smart about the number of keywords you have in your resume, especially if you like a position. What else? Usually when I apply for a position, I'm a Christian, like my name says. So I pray, if it's for me, it's for me. Don't be desperate. Keep applying. I know people who have 2, 3 jobs. So there are jobs there out of, on the table. Nowadays, you can work remotely. That makes it more easier. And if you have additional questions, I'm available as well to answer them now or later.
Yeah. Thank you. Do we have any other questions, any other comments? If you want to talk about a point that resonates with you or connects with you, you want it clarified, I'm sure they're both open to.
Yeah, if I may add one more question, I know that a lot of international students looking for jobs, especially in the US. I would say that as an international student, you be difficult to qualify for certain jobs if you don't have a residency or you're not a US citizen. But there are also international organizations like the World Bank, like the WHO. So most of the people work there at the internship, started with an internship. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get a job there. It means that you should give a shot. If you don't get what you want, be open to other regions. And we never know, the door might open one day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that might be for it. And I will take this moment to, first of all, thank the students. I know right now it's crazy. We're trying to do finals and wrap up this semester and all of that. So I want to thank you for attending the session, and I'll move on to our honorable alumni for being here today and sharing your experiences and guiding the students, and even providing the resources that you've provided. And thank you for being open to being contacted as well. I'm sure some of them are going to reach out to you if there's anything they need better guidance on. But this is amazing. We are proud of you guys as HELA alumni, and thank you so much for being here and sharing with the students. I want to take a moment to just let the students that are here as well to know that on Friday we have another panel. We're having 2 panels. So this was the first one, and we're looking forward to another one on Friday. And I just wanted the students to know that more information will be sent out as well. And I know Dr. Waddell is very grateful as well to have you guys. She had another meeting that she was at, but we will review this video together as well, and we will upload it. And if you want the video as well, I can share with both you guys, Pallavi and Christian. I can share with you. And yeah, but thank you so much, everyone, for coming. This was useful. This was enlightening, and I hope you have a beautiful day. And I will keep in touch, Pallavi and Christian from the Career Center. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for your coordination, Fatimata. It's not easy to set these things up. It's appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and
Take care.
good luck with the papers.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye all.